Abhijit, any sense at all at this moment of how long this war could go on for? It's obviously a question that the Israelis or the Palestinians don't want to think about, because Israel wants to finish the Hamas no matter how long it takes. Palestine wants this war to end. We've seen the Russia-Ukraine war just drag on much longer than anybody internationally expected, maybe even much more than Putin expected. Your best sense of how long we could see this military conflict go on for?
Thanks, Rahul. So, I'm expecting a minimum of at least 6 to 8 months, just based on the statements and the mission statement made by the Israelis. Because if they want to wipe out Hamas, look, the bigger tunnels, and we know there are very big tunnel systems. There's a whole underground city out there. Most of them are connected. So, for example, the one under Shifa Hospital, for example, has several nodes which are mutually connected. You pour water down it, recycled seawater down it. You've pretty much got it. The problem is there are hundreds of other, tunnels, fighting holes. I mean, we've seen these, tunnels from which Hamas fighters come out and place RPG rounds right on the tank, bypassing its active protection system defenses and things like that. So removing all of that is going to take a very long time. 6 to 8 months is the absolute minimum, assuming a consistent and overwhelming deployment of force of the current levels of about 560,000 in full mobilization. If it comes down, obviously, then the thing goes on much longer. Now, remember, there are two parts to this. They first have to do it 6 to 8 months for the north alone, and then 6 to 8 months for the south, when the population is transferred. We don't know how long the population filtering is going to happen, because they need to figure out who's Hamas, who's not, based on checking before they allow those in the south to move back up north. So it's being done as a sort of, almost like an ink blot, the reverse of an ink blot strategy, where you clean out one part, expand, create the ink blot completely, then move, and so on and so forth. I think totally this might just extend to about 2 to 3 years if this total eradication is humanly possible.
Do you think it is, given the fact that each civilian who's killed has relatives who would be very angry, frustrated, possibly more prone to radicalization than they've been in the past, and therefore, while you can take down top military commanders of the IDF, what about the ideology of the Hamas? Does that sink in even deeper, or do you think Palestinians will also try and push back because they've seen the kind of misery, pain and death it's brought them?
Sure. Rahul, we never really know with these things. Everybody believed that, conquering Japan or conquering Germany after World War II, which was the kind of complete occupation that Israel is now looking at again, would, lead to radicalization. In fact, American forces had a very elaborate plans drawn out for a post-occupation insurgency in Germany and Japan. Those did happen. And on the other hand, places like Afghanistan or Iraq, we knew, because this happened in our lifetime, we saw exactly what kind of insurgencies did happen. I would suspect that simply because of the sheer bulk of Israeli numbers and the sheer small size of Gaza, and almost, a 1:5 ratio kind of Israeli troops is to Gazans. There's about 2.5 million Gazans. And full mobilization is 560,000 Israeli troops. The lessons of Iraq and Afghanistan might not be applicable here. It might be more like Germany, Japan, just that overwhelming concentration of force. We also need to be clear about what's coming after this in order to make that determination. Because from what the Israelis are telling us, that there will be a completely new civilian authority with no connection whatsoever to Hamas, which could again lead to a lot of good things if it's done properly. It can't be like, Paul Bremer in Iraq dismissing the entire Baath party. And if you remember, the Baath party used to be quite secular. They were the only country that used to vote for India in OIC resolutions condemning us on Kashmir. But then it was the same Baath party that got dismissed, because in order to get a job in Iraq, you had to be a member of the Baath party. Everybody who was in the Baath party gets dismissed, and that Baath party colonel becomes the colonel of Al-Qaeda and, massively aids the insurgency out there. You can't have that kind of decision making. Let's see what happens.
Okay.